Yesterday, Max Verstappen dominated the NLS. He crossed the finish line first dominantly, nearly a minute ahead of everybody else. The crowd went crazy and his team celebrated. 2 hours later, disqualified. Not for anything on the track, not for a move that was too aggressive, not for a mechanical advantage or for blocking, for a tire issue, for a tire counting mistake. Here, I will tell you the full story of what happened, why it matters, and what it tells us about where Max Verstappen is actually headed. For those who don't know, the Nürburgring Langstreckenserie, the NLS, is one of the most respected and brutal endurance racing championships in the world. It's held on the Nordschleife, the Green Hell, 25 kilometers of narrow, fast, unforgiving racetrack through the Eifel Mountains. It's not Formula One, it doesn't have barriers separating amateurs from factory professionals. A weekend warrior in a Golf GTI can be racing wheel to wheel with a works Mercedes GT3. That's what makes it extraordinary. So the NLS races serve as a preparation for the big race of the season, the Nürburgring 24 Hours. And that's exactly why Verstappen was here this weekend. Max Verstappen is the 4-time Formula One world champion. He drives the fastest single-seater cars for a living. So what is he doing racing a GT3 on a mountain circuit through the German countryside? It's simple, because the Nürburgring 24 Hours is one of the races he always wanted to take part in. He said it publicly, he's been watching it for years, and this year he finally has the chance to participate. Last year he made his Nordschleife debut in a Red Bull Livered Ferrari, nicknamed Franz Hermann. And guess what? He won that race too. This weekend he was back, but this time in a Mercedes AMG GT3 in his own team, Verstappen Racing, operated by Winward Racing and with the full backing of Mercedes AMG as a performance team. It wasn't just a fun appearance, this was a serious structured program with a clear target, the 24 Hours of Nürburgring in May. And Verstappen's words after qualifying said everything. You always need a bit of luck with traffic. I think there was literally the only lap of the day without a code 60 slowing me down. The AMG feels hooked up, but honestly, today's a glorified test session for us. I still need to get the muscle memory down for the driver changes and the pit stops. We don't exactly do these in F1. It was a glorifying test session. That's Max Verstappen. On pole, nearly 2 seconds faster than a 2-time Nürburgring 24 Hours winner. Calling it a test. That's the mindset of a guy who isn't there to collect a trophy. He's there to learn. And detail matters enormously what came next. Clean, composed, fastest by a lot. But here's where the story actually starts. During qualifying, the team was practicing driver changes and tire swaps, a routine preparation for a long endurance race. And somewhere in that process, a big mistake was made. A set of tires was used that shouldn't have been used and that shouldn't have counted against the race day allocation. Or it was locked incorrectly. The exact details are still being analyzed by the team. This mistake in qualifying would cost them the race 6 hours later. They just didn't know it yet. So what happened during the race? Verstappen leads off the line from pole, and immediately Christopher Haase is all over him in the Scherer Audi Sport GT3. Haase takes the lead at the end of lap 1, blasting past him at the Döttinger Höhe. It's the fastest section of the Nordschleife where cars can reach 270 kilometers an hour. And what follows is one of the best battles we've seen in the NLS racing in years. These two, a Formula One champion and a 24 Hours Nürburgring specialist, are going wheel to wheel through the 25 kilometers of the most demanding circuit in the world. Separated by less than a second for multiple laps, in traffic with slower cars everywhere. There is a moment where Verstappen nearly hits Hase under code 60, a caution zone where you're only allowed to go 60 kilometers an hour, where both were navigating through slower traffic in close proximity. Verstappen fights back, gets past Hase and hands the car over to Juncadella at the pit stop, and that's where the gap to the rest of the field opens up enormously. Nico Handke, in his only second Nordschleife appearance ever, takes the Audi from Hase, and the experience becomes immediately visible. Juncadella is a factory Mercedes driver, and he pulls away, so the Audi drops out of contention. In the third hour, a different threat emerges: the Rowe Racing BMW of Dan Harper and Jordan Pepper. Harper closes right in on Jules Gounon, briefly takes the lead using the BMW straight line power advantage at the Döttinger Höhe. Then, in the most chaotic moment of the race, Harper and Gounon both go either side of a Porsche Cayman backmarker simultaneously. Harper hits the backmarker and Gounon gets through clean. So Harper picks up a time penalty and the Mercedes can pull away. Verstappen returns for the final 45 minutes of the race and secures the victory. He crosses the line 59 seconds ahead of the BMW in his only second NLS race, and it's his second win from 2 starts, or so everybody thought. The celebrations, the interviews, Verstappen says he wants to come back to the Nordschleife for NLS3. The team is happy, Mercedes-AMG is happy, the job was done. Then, 2 hours after the checkered flag, the technical commission completes the routine post-race checks. They scan the tire app logs and they find something. 7 sets of tires used. The regulation allows 6. That's 28 individual tires against the maximum of 24. Under NLS rules, that's a non-negotiable. There's no gratuity penalty, no points deduction, no fine. If you exceed the limit, you are disqualified automatically. There's no gray area. Mercedes-AMG confirmed in a statement that the error occurred during qualifying when the team practiced driver swaps and tire changes. It was a procedural mistake in logging or using tires during those practice runs, and they tipped over the limit right before the race even started. Now, 2 official statements are worth quoting directly. Christian Hohenadel, the team principal of Windward Racing, said, "The disqualification hurts. Unfortunately, a mistake was made within the team that forced race control to retroactively disqualify the winning car. For us, this was our first outing as Mercedes-AMG performance team on the Nürburgring Nordschleife. I would like to apologize to everybody who was rooting for us. We will now thoroughly analyze the day, meticulously prepare for the remaining races, and work towards the ADAC Revenal 24 Hours Nürburgring with full contention." And Stefan Wendel, Mercedes-AMG Customer Racing Chief, said, "An NLS weekend we won't forget anytime soon. Great racing, incredible atmosphere, and initially the joy of victory. The disappointment is all the greater as a behind-the-scenes mistake led to disqualification, which hurts. On the Nordschleife, everything must come together. Now we focus on analyzing, learning, and preparing for the upcoming races and the 24-hour highlight." Statements, both honest and both pointing in the same direction, forward. The win goes to Dan Harper and Jordan Pepper in the Rowe Racing BMW, the same car that briefly led the race in the 3rd hour. So here's my honest take, and I want to be clear that this is my opinion and not the official line. A lot of people are framing this as a disaster, a humiliation, an embarrassing mistake by a world champions team, and I think that's completely wrong. Look at what Stefan Wendel said. On the Nordschleife, everything must come together. That's the key sentence. Not "we failed," not "this is a catastrophe." Everything must come together. And this time, one thing didn't. One tire set in qualifying during a practice run. My opinion, this disqualification is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that the team is pushing hard enough to make mistakes. You don't make procedural errors when you're playing it safe. You make them when you are operating on the edge, when you're running practice driver changes, practicing pit stops, running race simulations and qualifying. That's exactly what a serious 24-hour race should look like. Think about this from this angle. The 24-hour of Nürburgring is a 24-hour race. Tire logistics, allocations, driver changes. These procedures have to be bulletproof for an entire day and night for 24 hours. And right now in March, they found out that one of these processes is not bulletproof yet. This is the best possible time to find out, not at hour 18 when the sun is coming up and you're fighting for the lead at the 24 hours. Now they have enough time to fix it and practice it. So Verstappen didn't just lose a race today, they brought themselves one of the most valuable lessons of this season for the price of one NLS result. That's kind of a bargain. And the pace, nearly a minute ahead on a 25-kilometer circuit. Nobody gave them this gap, they earned it. On paper, the results say Rover BMW, but in reality, everybody who watched this race knows exactly what happened. Here's what makes this story even more interesting going forward. The Bahrain GP and the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix have both been cancelled because of the conflict in the Middle East. So that leaves Verstappen with a free weekend on April 11th. That's exactly when NLS2 takes place. Verstappen already said that he's looking into it. If he races in NLS2, it becomes a direct comeback story. The team was disqualified in NLS2, returning 4 weeks later with better processes, better preparation, and of course a point to prove. And then on April 19th, the Nürburgring 24 hours qualifiers. Also now free on his calendar after the Saudi race cancellation. The 24 hours itself is in May. And based on what we saw this weekend, the pace, the composure, the racecraft, Verstappen is going to be a genuine contender. Not a celebrity guest, but a real contender. This is the story. Formula One champion conquering one of motorsport's greatest challenges step by step with setbacks and everything else. So on paper, Verstappen didn't win NLS2. The official results say Rover Racing BMW. But if you watched this race, you know what happened. You know who was the fastest and you know who dominated. The paperwork doesn't change the history, and the story is Max Verstappen is coming for the Nürburgring 24 hours. And his team just learned one of the most valuable lessons of this season with enough time to fix it. And I will be there to see it. I'm going to the Nordschleife for the 24 hours in person trackside. So I'll bring you this story from the inside, not from behind a screen. If you want to come along for that, you know what to do.